Okay, so we're going to call the meeting to order. It is 7:05 p.m. and I'm just going to go through who's in attendance here. So the committee, myself, I'm here, Jessica Goida, Dinah Mackinson, and June Williams from the committee is present. And we've got Justine Brotherson, Sarah Heater, Jeff Bunn, Mike Fowler.
Present.
Yep. Here from the township. Thank you for coming out. So just a couple of quick things before we get started. We've got the electronic participation protocol. So just please keep in mind that the meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic meetings are uploaded to the municipality's YouTube page. So by registering to meet tonight, we are meeting in by electronic means. We're consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. If everybody's okay with that, we'll move on to, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest before we?
Oh, we'll want confirmation of the agenda first.
I'm sorry?
We'll want to do confirmation of the agenda before the disclosure of pecuniary interest.
Oh, okay. No, the list I got, it has
Oh,
that
the other way.
reversed. Yeah. Okay, so we'll move on to confirmation of the agenda. Is there any amendments to the agenda that we have tonight? If not, could Justine read the amended resolution, please?
Can we get a mover and a seconder?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Can we get a different seconder? Sorry, Vinny, just as the
I'll-
chair.
I'll second.
I can second.
Perfect. So then the resolution is that the Recreation Committee approves the May 17th, 2022 agenda as circulated.
Okay, and is there any disclosures of pecuniary interest before we move on to the meeting?
Nope.
Nope.
No. There's that damn train horn again. All right, so we'll move on to item 6 here. Approval of the minutes from February 15th, 2022. I need a motion to approve the minutes. Justine, could you read the resolution, please?
Yep, that the Recreation Committee meeting minutes from February 15th, 2022 be approved as presented.
And someone to motion to approve that?
I'll move, Vinny.
June seconded.
Yeah, I can second.
All in favor? Aye. Is there any business arising from the minutes? I don't. No? Everybody can hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's no business? Okay,
No, there's no business for me.
okay. All right, well, then we'll move on to 8 here. Consent agenda. So there was a 8.1 resolution, 2022-073, community newsletter program. So there's a motion required to receive the consent item and any actionable items. Justine, could you read the resolution, please?
That consent agenda item 8.1 be received for information.
I just need a mover and a seconder.
I'll move.
Dinah, seconded by
Second.
June. Yeah, all in favor? Yeah. Okay. We got a bunch of these to do tonight, so your hands hopefully will be in good condition. Anyways, 8.2 on the agenda here, resolution 2022-0, I think it's 095, proposed external advertising proposal. A motion is required to receive the consent item and any actionable items. So Justine, could you read that resolution 2022-014,
Yep.
please?
Consent agenda item 8.2 be received for information.
Is there a mover and a seconder on that?
I can move.
I'll second.
Second and Dinah, all in favor? Aye. That's carried. Okay. All right, Recreation Committee 2021 fourth quarter revenue and expense information. Has anybody have any questions about the revenue and expenses that we've seen in the package? I think if I had to add a comment, obviously we can see there's more revenue coming in and it looks like it's pretty decent. So I think that's a good thing to see finally. So if there's any more things to talk about, we'll move to make a motion to pass this expense information. Read the resolution, please.
That consent agenda item 8.3 be received for information.
A mover, please.
I'll
I
move.
can move.
Oh, let June move.
June, okay, and the seconder?
I'll second.
All in favor? Yep. All right. Okay, item 8.4, facility revenues for February 1st, 2022 to April 30th, 2022. Obviously we're starting to get rentals, so it's looking like we're finally getting some revenue in. Is there any comments or questions on the revenues that we've got presented?
I do have a question.
Okay.
I am really impressed actually with the use of the gym, and I'm just wondering, is this, if staff perhaps know where this rentals, is this mostly pickleball or is this a bunch of different rentals?
Anybody can answer?
Sarah, would you be able to provide some information?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, I was trying to get my video on. Apologies. No, it's gonna work. Oh, there we go. Okay. Hi, everybody. I would say there's definitely a lot of rentals from the pickleball group, but we've definitely had a lot more interest in the facility. I'm hoping it's from word of mouth. We are trying to collect some more information for the committee on how people are hearing about us, whether they've been to the facility before, whether it's word of mouth, so on and so forth. But we definitely have a lot more team sports interested. We have a lot of basketball groups. We have a lot of teams that are using the gym for kind of like a dry land training and off-season training. So kind of nice, definitely have a lot more interest in the gym, which is we've seen a lot these days. I feel like it used to be things like birthday parties and that, but it's definitely a lot more sports teams.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Wow, well, that's wonderful news. It's great to see it being used. I know it was not used much before, but it's nice to see the increase in revenue. We can definitely use it. Is there any more comments or concerns
Nope.
before we make who'd like to make a motion to move the resolution? Justine, did you want to read it?
Sure, that consent agenda item 8.4 be received for information.
Is there a mover?
I can move.
Jessica? June will move and Jessica second. All in favor?
In
Yeah.
favor.
Okay. Any correspondence?
There's no correspondence.
Okay, is there any delegations tonight?
There are no delegations tonight.
Okay, so we'll move on to committee reports. So there's the report 11.1, Rec 2022-04 Aberfoyle Fall Fair parking update. Justine, could you please read, did you want to read the report or did you want to just read the resolution? If everybody's seen it, yeah,
I can provide a brief overview of the report if you'd like.
sure.
Yeah, so the purpose of this report is to provide the Recreation Committee with an update regarding the recommendations of the Aberfoyle Fall Fair Subcommittee to address future parking for the Aberfoyle Fall Fair. At the March 2nd regular council meeting, council endorsed the Recreation Committee's recommendations to address parking at the Aberfoyle Fall Fair and directed the Recreation Committee to have additional conversations with the Aberfoyle Agricultural Society regarding where vehicles for the tractor pull event could be parked. So on April 29th, the Aberfoyle Fall Fair Subcommittee met with a member of the Aberfoyle Agricultural Society, and the following recommendations were proposed. So the first recommendation was that vehicles related to the tractor pull park in front and in the rear of the Puslynch Community Center parking lots the night of the event, that the Aberfoyle Antique Market be used for event attendee parking in addition to available parking at the Puslynch Community Center, and further that signage be posted in front of the new soccer field stating no vehicles beyond this point. As a result of this meeting, the Aberfoyle Fall Fair Subcommittee and the Agricultural Society are satisfied that the parking available at the rear and front of the PCC will be sufficient for the tractor pull event. And so the Recreation Committee is being asked to support the recommendations made by the Aberfoyle Fall Fair Subcommittee and to forward those recommendations to council.
Okay. Is there any more discussion on this before we move to accept this resolution? Yes, Jessica?
Sorry, I have just a couple of questions. I just wanted to ask about for the tractor pull, the night of the event, and you have to forgive me for maybe not entirely understanding exactly how it works, but in terms of the tractors lining up to, I guess, be in queue for their turn to go in the tractor pull, is there enough space for that to happen as well? That wouldn't necessarily be parking per se, but like a holding area. Is there any concern that there's not enough room for that to happen?
Well, I was part of the meeting, and we feel that there's quite a bit of room
Okay.
back there, and I think we're going to be okay. One thing that's happened since this pandemic is we may not have a larger tractor pull on Friday night, just simply because some of the elderly folk are slowly not coming out, and we may not have a pull sled this year. So we may only have the small mini tractors on Saturday currently. So if we do a pull on Friday night, it may be a bit smaller than what we're used to having. So
Okay.
that's kind of where we're at right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the Aberfoyle School, is there still, this report said that it's still under consideration, but there is still potentially an opportunity for additional parking there if needed?
So we haven't heard back from the school at this time, but it is still being followed up on.
Okay.
I mean, unless we've got big alcohol tractors coming out that come from like all parts of Ontario, I doubt we're going to have a huge crowd that will need that much car parking. So
Yeah.
I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
I think we're going to be okay. So there is, like, the soccer fields are set back pretty far. So, you know, there's quite a bit of room still there. So air duct cleaners are calling, sorry.
Oh, dear.
All right, so what we'll do is there any more discussion on this topic?
Nope.
Okay, would anybody like to make a motion to, let me just see here.
Would you like me to read the resolution for you?
Yeah, read the resolution, please, and then we'll make a motion to move it.
For sure. That staff report REC 2022-004 regarding the Aberfoyle Fall Fair parking be received for information, and further that the following recommendations be forwarded to council for consideration. 1, that vehicles related to the tractor pull park in front and the rear of the Puslynch Community Center parking lot the night of the event, and that the Aberfoyle Antique Market be used for event attendee parking in addition to the available parking at the Puslynch Community Center, and further that signage be posted in front of the new soccer field stating no vehicles beyond this point.
Is there a mover on this resolution?
I'll move.
Diana will move. Seconder, please.
I'll second.
June Williams, and all in favor? Carried. Okay, 11.2, report, Rec Committee 2022-005. Clarification on fundraising request, goal, or objective. Has anybody got any questions on 11.2? And I think it was relating to a possible funding and fundraising for ball diamond lights, I think at the old Morrison Park and washroom upgrades, if I'm correct.
Yeah, do you want me to provide a brief overview for this report?
Yeah, sure, just in
Sure.
case.
So the purpose of this report is to review the Recreation Committee's role in fundraising for the Post Lynch Community Center park renovation and upgrade and replacement of lights and upgrading of washroom at Old Morrison Park. So at the February 15th, 2022 Recreation Committee meeting, the committee requested clarification on their role in the coordination for the fundraising of this project. At the October 13th, 2021 regular council meeting, council stated that the Recreation Committee is to liaise with local groups and organizations to support the efforts of these groups to raise funds for this project. And so this would look like the Recreation Committee engaging with the groups regarding fundraising opportunities, but not running the fundraising events themselves. And the Recreation Committee is being asked to appoint a subcommittee to support this goal and objective.
Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion on this report?
I understood that the money for Morrison Ballpark was coming from a grant of some sort. Is that not right?
So I believe a portion of the funding is from a grant, but there's also a portion that will be coming from fundraising as well as cash in lieu. It looks like there's kind of a few different sources, but a portion of the funding is going to be from fundraising / cash in lieu of parkland.
And so how much would that be, you know?
So, yeah, just give me one moment here. So the cost estimate for fundraising / cash in lieu of parkland for the Post Lynch Community Center park renovation upgrade cost is estimated at $404,245. And then the cost estimate for fundraising / cash in lieu for replacement of lights and upgrading of washrooms at the Old Morrison Park is estimated at $150,122.
Do we know? Oh, go ahead, June. Sorry.
Is that not the cost of, to have it done? Like, what would be the portion to fundraise? 'Cause you
So
were
the
talking-
fundraising and cash in lieu, I believe, was combined together, so that I think it could help make up the difference if I understood the report correctly. So that's that portion. If under Schedule A of the report, there's a further cost breakdown of how different sources are funding that project.
So has this project been tendered yet, or is this what we think it's going to cost?
At this time, no, it has not been tendered. The next upcoming weeks, it's expected to be tendered.
Okay. So
We are
it could be,
We're currently
mean-
waiting on Hydro to give approvals for the hydro.
I just, obviously with other municipalities and cities, they've been, putting out these tenders and the quotes have been coming in at way over budget. So I just hope that, we don't get stuck in that situation. So,
Well, to be perfectly honest, Vinny, the expectation is that we are going to fall in line with other municipalities in inflationary shock. So
yeah.
we should be prepared of being over budget for whatever the final quotes come in at.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Is there any more discussion on this report?
Do we have any members who would be interested in volunteering for the subcommittee?
I won't be here.
Um,
Justine, I don't know if it would, if this makes sense, but I think that my understanding is that the role of the rec committee is not necessarily to do the fundraising ourselves, but to liaise with the community groups and user groups to, I guess, like coordinate the fundraising efforts. I think every member on the rec committee has their own, everyone's part of different groups in the community and has different contexts within the community. It seems like it would be beneficial for us possibly to all be on that subcommittee. I just don't know if that's a reasonable expectation.
So it wouldn't be possible to have everyone on the subcommittee. What the subcommittee could do is potentially, so we can have 2 members. If we have more than that, we have a quorum, and then that would be a meeting of the committee.
Okay.
So what we could do is have a subcommittee of 2 members who work to draft some sort of letter or messaging that can then be used by the other members of the committee to help draw people in. But we would be looking for 2 members to join the subcommittee to help lead this.
I'm gonna say something, even though I'm not gonna be a part of the rec committee after July 6th, but Bruce isn't here tonight. Is it reasonable to form subcommittees when not the entire committee is here to volunteer?
So unfortunately, we kind of ran into the same situation at the February meeting. So that's why I got moved to this meeting, but the deadline for this goal and objective will be the end of year 2023. So pushing it
Right.
out to September just reduces the
Right.
amount of time that the committee has to work on this project.
So I apologize, I'm not gonna be able
Oh,
to vote.
that's all right.
Okay.
Well, since I'm probably going to be one of the members that'll still be left on the committee, I don't mind putting my name down for one of the members to help out if you need a hand. I know we're going to be losing unfortunately, a couple of our rec committee members, but I would help out, and I mean, I'm hoping Bruce would help me, but he's not here to ask, so.
Can you told him?
Well, I don't want to be the one to bear that news to him, but
That's a joke, that's a joke.
I'm hoping you can maybe put me down as a start and,
Sure, we
fine.
can send an email for further consideration after.
yeah, we could possibly, like you said, we could email the rest of the members that weren't here and see if anybody's interested, so. Okay. Is there any more discussion before we move to read the resolution?
Nope.
All right, we'll read the resolution.
The staff report REC 2022-005 regarding the clarification on fundraising request, goal and objective be received for information, and further that a subcommittee be appointed to support the completion of this goal/objective.
Okay, is there a mover?
I'll move.
Okay, and a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, so June and Jessica. Okay, all in favor? Yep. Okay, we're gonna go down to 11.3. 2022-006 Committee Quarterly Review of Goals and Objectives for 2022.
Yeah, so I'll just give a brief overview. So the purpose of this report is to review and provide updates on the Recreation Committee's goals and objectives. So I'll just give you a really quick update on kind of each goal and objective. So regarding regular reporting to council and recreation initiatives and progress, a report was brought to the March 2nd, 2022 council meeting regarding the committee's goals and objectives. The next report that will be going to council will be the committee's 2023 budget request. Regarding the promotion of facility rentals, council approved the external advertisement project proposal as presented, and the subcommittee is working with staff on its implementation. So a progress report will be brought to the September Recreation Committee meeting. Regarding the preparation of the committee orientation package, staff are still working towards a final draft, but a report will be brought to the committee at either the September or November meeting. regarding opening the gym on PD days. This project has been on hold as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and we'll be looking at starting this goal/objective soon. Regarding Bang the Table, the committee has completed its first engagement project, the Young Playground Planners, and an update will be brought to the September 20th Recreation Committee meeting. A second survey regarding township facilities will be posted in September of this year, and a report will be brought to the November meeting. And the purpose of this report is the committee is just being asked to receive this report for information.
Okay, would anybody like to move that we receive this report for information?
I'll move.
Dinah, and seconder,
I can second
Jessica,
it.
all in favor? Okay, perfect. We're going through it quick here. Okay, report 11.4, 2022-007, proposed 2023 Recreation Committee budget. I guess we're gonna have a little increase, I guess, but is there anything, any other questions or discussions on the item? Justine, nothing there?
So the purpose of this report is to provide the Recreation Committee with a proposed committee budget for 2023. At the date of publishing this report, no additional requests were received from the committee. So I guess I want to check tonight, are there any items that the committee wishes to put forward for consideration for the 2023 budget at this meeting?
So that advertising that we did with Guelph Today, is that part of our budget as well, or is that separate item?
So that isn't part of the Recreation Committee budget. What has happened with that is that it was an increase for promotion of the township recreation facilities, but it was allocated under the corporate advertising budget. So it's not identified as this, but that will be carried forward. It was a base budget increase. So
Okay,
if the committee is interested in looking at external advertising opportunities next year, then another external advertising proposal will need to be submitted for the use of those funds.
okay.
So I have a question then. So Guelph Today has been approved for a year. What happens after that?
So if the committee wanted to look at potentially advertising with Guelph Today again next year, then another
Yes.
external advertising proposal would need to be submitted to council with the goals and objectives report that goes at the beginning of each year.
And when does that have to be done? Because I mean, we haven't even started, hardly started yet, so we don't have any results. So when would be the deadline to do that for this or future committee?
Yeah, so the goals and objectives meeting typically takes place in February. So we would look at
Right.
having that put together then, and then it would go with that to council for consideration.
So if so I'm obviously not going to be there, does somebody have to actually bring that up? Or will somebody from staff say, by the way, we need to look at this?
It'll be brought up as part of the discussion
Okay.
for goals and objectives,
So I just wanted to know. Thank you.
for sure.
Quick question, sorry, is that okay? As Dinah mentioned, we've just barely started this Guelph Today advertising campaign. If it does go well next year, I would think and hope that the intention would be to carry it on. We don't know what the pricing structure of that would be for the following year, and based on everything else in the world, I'm sure the price will have gone up. Is that a concern, or would it make most sense just to leave it as it is and work within the parameters of what that dollar value is for next year?
I think that's up to the committee in terms of asking that request. In terms of the pricing for this year, there would be a little bit of room left over
Okay.
based on the pricing. I don't know
Okay.
if that's helpful.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure if, you know, speaking of like drawing up a budget for advertising, if we ask for a certain amount of money you know, say $4,500 and that comes in at 3,600, then that leaves us some extra money. But I don't know if that's something that the township has to set a goal, or like with budget time when it comes around next year. I don't know how that works. So.
I think
Okay.
if there is some, you know, wiggle room there, then I think probably best to just leave it as is and see how the results and the outcome are.
Well,
I'll
so
just
far,
add-
yeah, go ahead.
I'll just add that from what I understand about advertising these days, whether it's digital or print, there isn't print. Yeah, you have to be concerned about print advertising going up because their costs are going up for printing, paper, et cetera, labor. With digital marketing, I'm going to just guess that they want to keep it as affordable as possible and will probably limit an increase or make it small, because then they are in danger of losing, because you know it's tough to get advertising dollars these days. So I think you can probably expect that it would be the same, or if it's any higher, it would be minimal.
Okay.
I've been personally, I've been advertising with Guelph Today with our businesses for 4 or 5 years. And to be honest with you, the price has sometimes gone down and we've gotten more value for our money.
Good. Well, that's good to hear.
You know, like they're very competitive and they're willing to work with people, you know, like
Absolutely.
they realize it's a township or it's something that is, they want it, they'll work with us. So.
Yeah, they actually they did work with us on this number. When I first started out, when I contacted them, it was a lot more expensive. And then when we had more conversations, he was able to find something that fit well for us and that was still very affordable. So yeah, they are very eager to keep that relationship going and make sure that that it's affordable and that they work with us to keep it going. So yeah, I think you can expect a good relationship with those people.
Yeah. Okay, is there any more discussion on this before we move to approve it after we read the resolution?
Yeah, can I just say one thing, Vinny?
Yes.
Yeah, just as long as the committee realizes that if we can establish a budget as close as possible, that staff are able to take come budget time, and at least we have an accurate figure that we can present to council. So a little bit of consideration has to be taken that we pretty much need an exact number, whether it be increased or decreased, as far as when budget comes in late fall.
Okay. All right, thanks, Mike.
Well, I'll
That's-
just suggest that based on what Mike is saying, that I would just suggest whoever is the contact for Guelph Today at that time, that you reach out and see if they know what the next year's, if they have any idea if there'll be an increase or not, or if they're willing to maybe lock in a number for us, like a mortgage for so many days, right? Like if you do it in October before the November meeting, you can say, can you lock us into an agreement for cost until the February meeting or something like that. So that would be my suggestion, that you reach out then and see if you can lock something down with all the advertisers then.
Okay, somebody wrote that down? Okay, is there any more discussion on this item?
Nope.
All right, Justine, are you ready to read the resolution?
Yep. That staff report REC 2022-007 regarding the proposed 2023 Recreation Committee budget be received for information, and further that the approved budget be forwarded to council for consideration for the 2023 budget.
And a mover on that, please?
I can move.
Just
A
June,
second. Oh,
Dinah,
Justine.
second.
Okay.
Don't worry, we got lots to work on. Thank you,
Jessica,
Carrie.
I know. Jessica raised her hand before me.
Okay, 11.5 on the agenda here, report REC 2022-008, training opportunities. So Justine, did you want to just talk about a little bit what we I guess there was a training opportunity that came up possibly.
Yeah, so the purpose of this report is to provide the Recreation Committee with information regarding training opportunities. So I just wanted to highlight there's some free training opportunities from webinars offered through the Canadian Parks Recreation Association's The Bench. So that's just something that you guys can register as members of and check those out. I provided some in the report that I thought could be interesting. A second training opportunity is the Ontario Parks Association's 65th Annual Parks Education Forum. So I just wanted to ask the Recreation Committee to determine if there's any members that are interested in attending this education forum.
So is this something that Mike Fowler would be going to?
It'd be something that we'd be seeing if the committee members are interested in attending.
Okay, but nobody else from the township typically goes?
Mike, do you often attend this conference?
I will leave it open to the committee members to have first shot.
Sure.
I'm not going to be here, so there you go, forfeit.
Yeah.
Is this a-
Typically, I attend automotive type stuff, but I mean, I'm open to anything. So if the township did want to send somebody and they had nobody else to go, I mean, I think myself or Bruce would probably, you know, enjoy something like this, or one of the other members.
Is this an in-person event or is this a virtual event? Do we know?
It looks like it's going to be an in-person event.
Okay,
It looks like it's taking place, I believe, in Burlington.
but we don't know the date.
No, the date is to be determined. It'll be sometime in the fall.
Yeah, depending on when the date is, I, you know, have to consider, you know, if it's on the fall fair weekend, I can't go, but you know, we'd have to see when the date is. Maybe we could, when we do know an exact date, we could maybe send an email out to the members of the rec committee and see if
So-
anybody,
Right now, we think that Benny and possibly Bruce would be interested.
or Jessica, would
Is
you
it,
ever go?
there's, yeah, I would possibly consider going. There's a, am I right that there's a budget of $500 for training? I
There's
think
a
I read
budget
that.
of 500 specifically was set aside for that kind of fees, but in terms of there's also some accommodation and travel, and so things can be shifted around if we had more people interested in registering. It just, any additional costs outside the budget would have to be borne by those attending.
Okay, so if the forum price is $200 per member, could we tentatively say we'd like to have 2 members attend and determine who those 2 members are upon confirmation of the date of the conference or the forum,
Sure, we could certainly do that.
if everyone
Maybe-
agrees?
Maybe a new member would like to go.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'm just thinking like it's gonna be new member time. It's the municipal election in the fall. It's gonna be a busy time in the offices, so we could definitely keep that open till the fall. You know, like June was saying, a new member possibly. All right.
We need a name to it right now, like,
No, I'll update the resolution. If you'd like me to read it, I can read it for you.
Sure.
Sure. So that staff report REC 2022-008 regarding training opportunities be received for information, and further that the Recreation Committee send 2 members to the 65th Annual Parks and Education Forum.
Okay, is everybody all in favor of this? Or need a mover and a seconder, please?
I'll
I'll
move.
move.
Dinah, Jessica, second. All in favor? All right, that's carried. Okay, 11.6, report here, REC 2022-009, November 15th, committee meeting scheduling conflict.
Yeah, so the purpose of this report is to advise the Recreation Committee of a scheduling conflict with the November 15th, 2022 Recreation meeting and propose an alternative meeting date. So the Recreation Committee has been provided with 3 potential dates. The first option being November 22nd, 2022 at 7 PM. The second option being November 29th, 2022 at 7 PM, or option 3, December 6th, 2022 at 7 PM. So the Recreation Committee is being asked to select one of the above mentioned dates as an alternative meeting date.
And what days are those?
So they're all Tuesdays.
Okay. I mean, for me, the first one's probably fine. The first one that was selected there.
Second, I think.
June, are you still gonna be with us in November?
No, I won't, Vinnie.
Will this be the existing rec committee, or will this be a new rec committee?
It'll be the existing rec committee
Okay.
Oh. Okay, so how long do we go for?
until a new committee is appointed by council. So recruitment will take place sometime following the municipal election.
Looks like you're stuck with us, June.
No, I've enjoyed being here, Vinnie. Yeah, well, the 22nd. How's that? Well, Vinnie, how does that affect you and the Optimist? Because I don't know how.
Is that,
what's
so
that?
is that the
That's-
third? If that's the third Tuesday, that's fine, because it's the fourth Tuesday's a dinner meeting.
It is the fourth Tuesday, I think.
That's the fourth Tuesday.
Oh,
Okay, and the third Tuesday is not,
So that was the 15th.
Okay.
So the 29th would be another option.
Yeah, so that would be the 5th, right? Fifth,
Yeah, that-
Tuesday.
let's do the 29th, because when you get into December, it gets very busy, so. Let's move it to the 29th if everybody's okay with that.
Okay.
Perfect.
by
Would you
me.
like the resolution?
Yes, please.
That staff report RAC 2022-009 regarding the November 15th, 2022 committee meeting scheduling conflict be received for information, and that the 2022 November Recreation Committee meeting be moved to November 29th, 2022.
Okay, is there a mover?
I'll move.
Jessica? Okay, and sorry, who? Everybody just answered at once there. June, did you say you moved too, or second?
Sure.
Okay, all in favor? All right, it's carried. All right, let's move on to 11.7, verbal report, Parks Master Plan. I guess, Mike, is that something you're gonna speak on?
I'd love to, Vinny. Yeah, so the recent update is for the Parks Master Plan is that it's currently still out with the consultant for conceptual designs and costing. Hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we will have a tender going out to a proposed contractor that can begin the works. Within that time, once a proposal has been received, it will be reported to council for their thoughts and views. And then hopefully we can go to tender after that. As far as the old Morrison Ball Diamond, the tender is slated to go out next week with a start date in late fall, once the ball season is done. And just waiting on also some Hydro One approvals for bringing new services into both sites.
Okay, and where do you guys list the tenders? Are they on Bedingo?
When the township puts out tenders, it's through bids and tenders. As far as the consultants, it will be advised that they also do bids and tenders in correlation with our finance department.
Okay. All right, and is there any idea when you might be getting bleachers and stuff to wrap up that soccer field at the back of the township property there, the community center?
Again, all these items have been identified. It is,
Okay.
these are the type of items that will be installed and delivered once the light masts and poles have been installed. So realistically, probably spring of next year is when these type of amenities will arrive on site.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, June?
Mike, do you have any idea about the tennis courts?
The tennis courts are included within this scope of work. So until I receive the tender and the proposal from the consultant regarding identified areas that will be done, at this time, I cannot answer that, June, but I can assure you the tennis courts are included.
So do you know if they're gonna be done this summer or next summer, or?
Realistically, for the timeline now, for you or the tennis or anyone currently using the tennis courts, we will probably start with a fall construction. That way you can utilize the courts for the summertime.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Okay, so currently the tennis courts, I believe, are open now to anybody. Is that correct?
Yes, they are.
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct.
Have they been, has it been going over okay? Has there been any vandalism or any problems?
Not that I'm aware of any. Nets are currently erected and pickleball has been using them. So other than any comments from June, I don't assume there have been any issues.
That's good. All right, is there any more discussion on Mike's verbal report? Or questions for him?
No.
All right, we will read the resolution, please.
That the report Parks Master Plan be received for information.
And we'll need a mover, please.
I'll move.
Dinah, and a seconder.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
I,
Aye, yep, all right, so 11.8. Report Rec 2022-010 Township Facilities Outdoor Licensed Events. Could we-
Hi, Vince. So
Mary.
Mary, Director of Finance Treasurer is here today. I know I'm usually not here at these meetings, so I just wanted to just be here as it relates to the alcohol risk management policy portion of the report. I know it's attached as a schedule to the report that Justine and Sarah prepared.
Mhm.
So I'm here just to answer any questions related to the alcohol risk management policy, and then Sarah and Justine can lead the outdoor licensed events portion, which was direction that came out of the council meeting when the second draft of the alcohol risk management policy was presented to council in early May. Just some background information for the committee in terms of the ARM and the purpose of it. Basically, with the reopening of the PCC, which occurred on May 11th, the township proposed this policy to council as it relates to licensed events at the PCC. And so now services staff are able to take licensed event bookings at the PCC now that this policy is in place. Prior to the opening, we canvassed our current bartenders, and they were very limited. I believe there was only one bartender that was interested in returning. So we looked at what other municipalities do, and our insurer's recommendation was to have this policy in place. And a lot of the policy stipulations in it are based on other municipalities. And I can answer any questions that the committee has related to the policy. We also received a lot of input from our insurance provider as it relates to the liability aspects associated with the policy. But yeah, I'm here to answer any questions regarding the ARM that's on your agenda today.
Okay, so I have just a quick question. So you say that we only have one bartender that's willing to stay on the township. Now, if I wanted to become a bartender, is that a job that the township offers, and is it like, how is it paid? And, you know, like, obviously we need to get Smart Serve.
Yeah, so based on our discussions with our insurance provider, the liability risk of having our own bartenders on staff just doesn't make sense for the township in terms of the risk related to liability issues. So we are actually moving in this direction just based on what the best practices around us and in terms of the recommendations that came from our insurance provider related to serving alcohol on township property.
So we're not, so basically what you're saying is we're not going to be relying on township bartenders. We're going to be relying on the renters to provide their own licensed bartenders?
Right, and services staff will be working very collaboratively with the renters in terms of what the requirements are. We've actually phased in the implementation of the policy in terms of, I think renters, licensed events within the 30 days of the policy adoption weren't subject to the policy's requirements, but services staff are working very closely with current renters in terms of getting all the documentation in place to ensure the minimum number of event workers are secured in accordance with the policy. The policy recommends that bartenders be SmartServe certified and licensed security if it's required for an event. Not all events require licensed security, and so there's very specific items in the policy in terms of who needs to be SmartServe certified.
Mm-hmm. So I think if it was me, personally, my only concern would be, you know, a couple people rent it for a stag and doe, they give you all the paperwork, it looks great. And the stag and doe happens and all of a sudden the hall is over capacity. Is there somebody that's going to be there at all times to keep an eye on things? If it's somebody that's not from the township and, you know, everybody's having a great time, they're making some money, you know, who wants to be the bearer of bad news saying, well, you know what, there's too many people in the hall, you know, we have to, or there's, you know, that's only my concern, you know.
Yeah,
But-
so part of the documentation requirements prior to approving the rental is that the event organizer or the permit holder of the SOP permit have an agreement that they need to sign in terms of the number of participants at the event and all the other requirements that they must be met. So a lot of it is putting the onus back on the renter and the permit holder of the SOP. And also the licensed security, if it's required for an event, would be monitoring that type of stuff. For events that don't require licensed security, my understanding is that there will be a staffing presence at that event.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just, you know, I know we're taking a deposit, but, you know, apart from the deposit, what recourse does the township have if something major was to happen? You know, like I think we only take $500 and that doesn't go very far if there's some damage or something major.
Sorry, I didn't realize that my video wasn't on. So we have actually increased the security deposit amount to $750. But I guess there are other, just to answer the security deposit aspect of it, Vince, I'm sorry, what was your other comment?
Well, I'm just, you know, like what other recourse does the township have if the damages go beyond the $750? And, you know, like,
Yeah, so
I'd hate to see, you know, if something major happened, a big broken window or something crazy happened, you know, $750 doesn't go far anymore. So, you know, do we have recourse to get more money? Like, do they leave a credit card? Do they leave themselves open to pay if there's further damages or further things missing?
well, we're hoping that the $750 will address most damages, but if it doesn't, the other recourse is that, you know, the township would try to recoup the cost through invoicing if it's more than the $750. And if the renter doesn't pay, then we wouldn't rent to that individual in the future. I think those are our main recourses, but Mike and Sarah, please speak up if I'm missing anything.
No, I agree with what you're saying, Mary. I can let the committee know that we are exploring the possibility, and I stress possibility that instead of utilizing bartenders like we did in the past to act as on-site personnel, we are going to ask a couple individuals if they would be interested in kind of like a part-time supervisory role during these events. At least we have some type of representative from the township who, whether it be answer kitchen questions and just basically monitor, whether it be a stag and doe, a wedding, a function, that, you know, check bathrooms, check the parking lot type of activities. So in the future, we will be discussing with certain individuals if they would be interested, but that is I guess the second recourse that we have to offer.
Okay. And I'm not sure if this is the place to ask, but I know the Optimist Club, it came up, and when we were having our event, the fish dinner, I don't know what the rules are in Ontario, but from what I was understanding is anywhere on the grounds you're allowed to consume alcohol, but I don't know if that's the case, because when we were selling, there was question if somebody wanted to sit outside on the picnic tables on the patio and have their beer and eat their fish and chips, or the picnic tables out in the grounds, could they do that? And I don't think we were able to, you know, give them a correct answer, but maybe you guys could clear the air.
I can speak to that, and then Sarah, maybe you can just add if I miss anything, but I believe that if the fenced outdoor patio, so the outdoor patio must be fenced if there is alcohol consumed there. And it must be included in the SOP with the AGCO, special occasion permit with AGCO. But Sarah, maybe just add if I've missed anything.
No, that's exactly it. All the areas that you do want to have licensed have to be noted on your special occasion permit. And that outdoor area of the there fencing would then have to be erected. And then that portion would actually be considered an outdoor event. And as per the special occasion permit, there's even more requirements that the renter or event organizer would have to fulfill to also be able to license that space.
Perfect. Yeah, we couldn't let people leave the building because we didn't know the answer. So that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, Vince. So in the future, if you guys do want to license that area, maybe just work with the AGCO on the requirements, and our services staff can also assist if you guys have any questions.
Now, is there any other areas on the property that can be licensed for a liquor event? Like, can the MRF be used for alcohol, or any of the other areas? Or is it just the PCC?
So I think that's where the report that Justine's prepared as it relates to outdoor licensed events, that's where we kind of want to have some of that discussion. I know I don't believe since I've been here it's been licensed in the past, the MRF, but I think that's only been seldom the case. Like, I don't believe it's happened that often, but so Sarah, and I guess there are some specific requirements for those areas, including working with our various departments and notifying affected neighbors and whatnot. I guess it's all outlined in the report. So I think Sarah and Justine will just work with the committee to get any comments that you guys may have on the items in the report that's been prepared.
All right, yeah, because I know it's not going to happen this year, but I know there's always the talk with the fall fair, you know, should we have a beer garden? Well, I don't think we're ever going to see one, but, you know, it's too much work. It's not worth it. So.
Yeah, there are many more requirements with the AGCO as it relates to licensed events. So,
Sure.
And also the alcohol risk management policy currently indicates that those types of outdoor events, like not located in the Puslinch Community Center, would require council approval, just because we don't have those as often
Absolutely.
as, yeah.
All right, is there any other questions?
I have a couple questions. I just want to sort of differentiate a couple of things. So as it stands right now, before this arm was in place, if someone wanted to, for instance, host a wedding at the PCC, an outdoor wedding at the PCC, is that something that was available prior to now?
Sarah?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes,
So
but
if someone
without,
wanted to, go ahead, Jessica.
sorry, go ahead.
So if someone wanted to, if I'm understanding correctly, if you wanted to rent the facility, but also be able to utilize the outdoor space behind, and maybe that's kind of the area where you would have your ceremony, or based on guest attendees, you need that additional space. That space behind the community center has always been available for rent. We do have sometimes people who inquire about that, but when we usually do go over the costs, the amount of time they would actually require all of the space. If they're also looking at putting up a large marquee style tent, they would require a building permit, which would then mean they need the use of the grounds on the Friday to be able to erect the tent. There'd need to be inspections. They'd be using the facilities again on the Saturday, maybe the takedown on the Sunday. So it's there is a lot that would go into being able to host a large event outside. So we don't have, we have a couple people that inquire. We have yet to have anyone in the last few years who's wanted to go through hosting a large event like that. And it hasn't been something in the past. The township has licensed or permitted to have licensed often, and that's kind of, I think, where the conversation today kind of stemmed from, if that would be something you would want to do.
Okay, and then a separate question, the ORC, so for instance, where the farmer's market takes place, if let's say a microbrewery wanted to have a table set up for the farmer's market and sell beer to be consumed on site, would that mean that that entire facility would then have to become licensed in order to allow something for that to happen?
That's my understanding of the special occasion permit. So on that permit, they would ask for that actual facility to be licensed. So that, yes, if you are going up to that table to just a sample, that you would still be able to walk within the boarded area, but not outside of that area. That would, unless they were licensing that space as well.
Okay, and so then the difference between, so perhaps back to my original question, if someone wanted to have an outdoor wedding behind the PCC, the difference between having it licensed and not licensed are basically these top two boxes in this report, that if it were to be licensed, the AGCO needs to be given written notice. And what's the other thing here? They need a resolution from council. Is that correct?
That's correct. So there'd be written notice that would be required to the township, to the local police, to the fire, and to public health, or public health unit. And then yes, those types of event would require approval by council.
Okay, but everything else would remain the same. So there wouldn't necessarily be more like manpower or anything involved, as if it were a non-licensed event at the same place. Is that correct?
Possibly not. I know Mike could probably speak to it more. We haven't had these types of events take place very often in the year, or in the years, sorry. And I'm not sure if there'd be a lot of additional wear and tear to the soccer fields. Would there be damage? Would there be requirements for additional waste receptacles to be placed around these types of events? Events would be to take place after these types of events. I'm not sure, but I think we're, yes, with the alcohol being licensed or non-licensed, I think there would be obviously additional would probably need to take place, regardless whether it was licensed or not.
Okay, and one more question from a liability perspective. Do we know if the insurance provider has given any kind of indication as to whether there is increased risk or increased premiums or anything like that if we were to allow outdoor licensed events?
Jessica, sorry, I don't know if
Okay,
that would be the case, but it is a question that we can pose to our insurance provider.
okay. Okay, I'll leave it to other members to comment as well.
Okay, is there any more comments or questions? No. So I think if I was to hold my outdoor wedding at the community center, clearly I'd have to book months in advance to get all that paperwork and stuff done. Am I correct, I think?
I
If
think
you need-
so, Vince, just based on the number of requirements, and it's not just township requirements. I think Jessica nailed it, like the AGCO's requirements are significantly more for outdoor licensed events. And I think you also said that, Vince, so.
Yeah, so then I think we would probably say if somebody was to rent it, they'd have to at least give us 90 days notice just to get all the paperwork in line would be an appropriate amount of time.
Well, I think there's other items that need to be discussed if we are to start offering outdoor licensed events. So if
Mhm.
there's any information that the Recreation Committee wants us to get more information on, or yeah, I'm wondering
Sure.
what the appetite is around here in terms of outdoor licensed events.
Well, I don't think we're gonna see too many, but who knows, right?
I think, would there be any benefit in, I guess maybe I'm thinking more so along the lines of the orc. Because it is an outdoor facility, but it is already, the structure's already there, so there's no need to rent a tent. And the barriers are already there, so there's no need to necessarily put up a fence. And like you say, maybe there's no, maybe there is no demand for it, but I don't actually really know that for sure. I don't know if it would be worth connecting with the farmers market to see if, what their thoughts would be on it. But if anything, if there was any place where I would think that we maybe could consider it, it would be there. And again, I don't know what the demand is like. It doesn't really sound like there's been many inquiries about it, but that would be, I think if we were to move to outdoor events, my thought would be start with that one and see how it goes before we offer, just a beer tent or something like that.
Mhm.
Can I just give an example, Vinny? Quickly?
Yes,
Several years ago, the Orc did offer or did host an MMA event on the rink pad. It was a licensed event. And basically the criteria is that the activity took place on the rink pad and alcohol was served and was restricted to within the boards. So in the past, this facility has been licensed. So moving forward, that is a possibility for any potential future renters.
yeah, I think if it was me, I think if I was gonna do an outdoor event, I would try and do it there. It'd be easier to, save the expense of the fence and, you got controlled entrances. It's pretty nicely set up in the summer. But that's my opinion. I can't drink too much anymore anyways, so doesn't really affect me. But I know the farmer's market did wine sampling and wine sales, so they must have had to get some kind of a permit to sell that. So, I don't know. Any other questions? No?
Did the committee have specific comments that they would like to forward in writing to the finance department based on this report?
Anybody
Or
have
just leave
anything?
it at a general conversation?
Councillor Goida, what I heard from you was to maybe look into outdoor license events at the Orc Arena. Is that what you want staff to kind of look into?
I would be interested in that if the rest of the committee would support that.
I would support that.
And perhaps also just understanding the liability piece as well. If there's any, if that suddenly means that the township's insurance premiums are going to drastically increase, well, that might change my
Mhm.
mind as to whether we should consider that or not.
Okay, so yeah, that's great. So Justine, then, so I guess what staff need to look into if the committee agrees is if we were to allow outdoor licensed events, is there an increased liability risk? So staff can consult our insurance provider to ask that question. And to
which is a new series that reimagines trending recipes.
and for staff to maybe investigate outdoor licensed events at the Orc Arena.
Now, my other question is, if you had a large event in the arena and a lot of alcohol being served, are the washroom facilities capable of handling that much use? Being on a septic system?
I would say yes, due to the regular pumping that both facilities receive. Would
Mhm.
just be the same, we'll say, capacity as the PCC for their events, so
Sure.
that would be the least of our concerns.
Okay. All right, is there any other concerns for Mary? Okay, well, I guess we will get Justine to read the resolution, please.
Staff report REC 2022-010 regarding township facilities outdoor license events be received for information, and further that the Recreation Committee's comments regarding increased liability risk and investigation of licensed outdoor events at the ORC be forwarded to the Finance Department for their consideration.
Do we have a mover?
I'll move.
Jessica, seconder?
I'll second.
Oh, let June.
Okay, June, all in favor?
Okay.
Aye. Okay. Are we ready for number 12? Is there any new business before we break for the summer?
Nope.
No? Anybody? No? Okay, is there any new announcements?
I guess my announcement is that I'm closing, my house is closing on July 6th. So I will continue to be a committee member, an active committee member until then. But as of July 6th, at some point, I won't be a homeowner in Puslinch anymore. So I just want to say thank you for the last 10 years. It's been really great. And I've served, every single committee has been different and effective. And this last committee has really, really accomplished a great deal. So I'm just really proud to have been a part of all of this for the last 10 years. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. It's been fun working with you and seeing your happy smile, and yeah, we're gonna miss you for sure.
I will miss all of you too, believe me, but I'm still coming back to Puslinch. You know, you'll still see my face around here.
Wonderful. Okay, is there any other announcements?
I don't have an announcement, Vinny, but going back to new business, and I probably shouldn't really be bringing this up, because I didn't fill out one of those forms for budget purposes and everything, but the PCC needs a new flagpole. Got a great big curve in it.
Oh boy, Mike, did you hear that?
The flagpole, was that what I heard?
Yeah,
It's
like it's got a great big curve in it. It doesn't stand straight anymore. I think
it's not erect.
sometime, yeah, that's right. Sometime down the road when we have some spare money, it would be nice to get one of those ones like this in front of the library. And actually, I wanted to call the county and find out, you know, for budget purposes, how much they were and all that, but I didn't get a chance to. So, so sometime I think we should put in for a new flagpole in front of the PCC, but a nice big one and straight.
We
I
need to
think
have a
that-
couple flag poles because we got the township's flag, the Canadian flag, and the Ontario flag, right?
True.
Well, I
think
can,
this-
I can definitely look into that because there's nothing more embarrassing than a curved flagpole. So I will definitely look into that.
Actually, the front of the library looked really good, like they just stand out there. And so, because I was kind of standing in the parking lot, and I thought, oh my gosh, that flagpole of ours is really skinny, but it's got a bend in it. And then I looked at the library, and I thought, gee, they stand up so straight and look so sturdy. And I believe there's 3 of them there. But it would look really nice to have something substantial next to the cenotaph instead of a bent one.
And I don't know, I mean, I brought it up years ago, but nobody's ever changed the lighting in the main sign out in front of the PCC where the marquee sign is. The lights have been burnt out for years that highlight the Aberfoyle Market and the address and like everything. So I don't know, at nighttime when you drive by, you don't really see it other than that red sign. But maybe the LEDs need to be updated in it or something, I don't know, but it's one of those minor things that you drive by it every day and you're like, man, you know, like nobody's put those light bulbs in, you know, it's one of those little things you see, you know, so. But I mean, that's obviously, you know, I don't know what the maintenance budget is on stuff like that, but we just had our signs fixed at work and they're not cheap to repair, so. I don't know. It's probably low on the pole of things to do. Obviously, around the township, there's lots of work to be done. So, just those little things, I guess. You know. So.
Sorry, Vinny, are you referring to the pillars at the one entrance, those lights?
No. This is the main sign that holds the like the red one that you can change messages. So it's supposed to be lighted. So but the lights are all burnt out now in it.
Oh,
So
the digital.
Yeah, so the digital sign works, but the sign on the top supposed to say the Aberfoyle Community Center, it doesn't light up anymore. And then there's one that says the Aberfoyle Farmers Market, and then there's 4 smaller ones, and they all have been burnt out for a couple of years now.
Oh, right, the fixed ones, like.
Yeah,
below
so the
sign.
pylon sign at the road.
Yeah.
So at night when you drive by, it's pretty quick to miss it. So I don't know
Yeah,
who,
it's hard to find, but.
I mean, the marquee sign still works, but the rest of it hasn't lit up in a few years, so it's one of those little minor things to do, I guess. So something to think about one day.
The new symbol looks really good on the front of the PCC
It does.
with the new lettering.
That's really sharp.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of positive comments on our kitchen from the Optimist Club when they were in there. I think
Looks really.
everybody really enjoyed it, so I think that was great. I think me personally, I thought that we were going to get the bar updated a little bit with the counter and stuff, but I guess that was maybe not in the budget this year. But I think everything else looked great. It's going to look good for our renters.
The bar is on our agenda, Vinny. It's just another work in progress.
No problem. And I like the idea of that metal cage to put away some of the, you know, expensive, commonly borrowed items from the PCC. I think that'll work out really well as long as the renters don't have a key to get in. So, but yeah, no, I think that was a great improvement. So Is there any other announcements or anything we'd like to discuss before we move to adjourn the meeting?
When's our next meeting? In September?
Well, since you've indicated you're going to quit, we've got one coming up next month and we've got 3 more over the summer. I
Then-
think that's the one that we had voted on for the 29th of November, I believe.
No, the next one will be September 20th.
Okay. Is there any other questions? Announcements? Okay, I'll get Justine to read the resolution, 2022-25.
That the Recreation Committee hereby adjourn at 8:25 PM.
I would
Mover,
like to move that. It's my last meeting, so I'd like to move. Thank you.
okay, and a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, June. All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, guys, it's been great. And we'll see you in September.
Thank you.
Okay.
You all.
Have a good.
Good luck with your move, Dinah.
Thank you. Thanks. That's next week on Wednesday.
Good luck, you got it.
Take
You